Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a fantastic rack. I have the blank. I have Rondo with the blank as an R. Slightly vowel heavy rack, and a U limits the number of bingos, but there should be one which is playable. With the blank as an S, I would have duans. So what if opponent changes? It would be nice not to use the blank as an S because that would be useful for opponent. So Rondo would be preferable, except that doesn't get the D doubled. Now, where's the best lane? Column 5 is a double lane. This rack doesn't look like it goes particularly well with the F. Not seeing anything there. So how about column 8, beginning or ending with T? Well, nothing has come to mind. I have nodulate, but that doesn't end in T. I get 7 points from Fet if I play over it or in column 9. So what about an overlap play? What about duans or rondo? No. And either of those in column 9 is going to place a vowel next to this double letter square. Tricky. Let me look for another 7. Not seen anything yet. That would be douanier onto an R. That's nodulate through the T. Gosh, this isn't as productive as I was hoping it would be. Now, QU, does that assist? Don't think so. That's rondo. Okay, so I think I've thought enough about this. Duans for 68. Fat isn't good. Well, that just punts it one square higher up. Okay, so it was Feta. So a bit of a bumpy start to the game, but I do have a bingo. Probably not the best one. And this is a fairly decent pick. I have the ing ending. I'm not seeing a 7 with this rack, but quite a few floaters on the board. Just wondering about indicate, but I don't think that's good. But that often means there is a valid anagram. Wow, great bingo for opponent. And an I in the middle of row A, precisely the tile that I have a duplicate of. So I have ideating. That's the play I was thinking of with the E. Should I spend time looking for a better play? Well, what about the S? Not seeing anything there. How about the N to obstruct row A? So nidating is good, but I think it just provides, it might obstruct a triple or a bingo, but it provides better opportunities for a non-bingo play. I'm going with this, another low scoring bingo. And the run ends. But I think this rack is probably slightly too good to change. Well, Ideating has taken out both E's for Cruive, which would have sorted the rack out. Curvier also. Now, column 8 works for plays ending in I or I something. Not seeing such a play. So my lead only 40 points with opponent on turn, despite starting with 2 bingos. And this is a wide open board. Not only is there the triple lane, but there's also column 8 at the top and at the bottom. But I don't have a great rack for longer plays. I'm not seeing any plays in column 8, top or bottom. Is there a way of playing off R, U and V? Eruv doesn't score very much. Now I have great, not a bingo. I have rubric on my rack. That does play here. That's 42 points. And the V stays on my rack, but is available for Rev next turn. I don't think I'm going to find anything better. So, this looks promising. I draw another S. Just the duplicate A and the slight vowel heaviness to move this away from bingo territory. And not too many floating consonants. Dev is also good. And Opa. So I've got VAE in column 11. And I'm not sure about Vida. That may be a capital V. But do I have a bingo? Floating C and R. D and S don't go well together. I noticed in the last video that the rack value of DST was a lot lower than I was expecting. S is worth about 8 to 9 points, and the T helps that, but then the D drags it all the way back down to 7, so I think it's because they compete for being in last place. Only 18 points for opponent. We are neck and neck. What can I do? Nothing with the floating K. Ideating floaters not available. Do I play they? Well, what about Ava? Side is a really good 4-letter set, which goes well with R and C. 33 points is good. So I think what would be better than this would be a bingo, but I haven't seen one. So I am going with this. Pretty good. That looks close to a bingo. But do I have one? I'm not. Leg side is good. Interesting. Does that play? Opal. Yes, I have leg side in column 12. Wow. Will that remain available? And is there any other spot? What about... Now, is elegized good? I would need another E for that. So what about the C? Doesn't look promising with the G. How about the R? Well, that would be Liedges. Does that have an anagram? How about G and R? Doesn't look promising. I could have the girl ending, but that doesn't give me a bingo. Leg side doesn't play in row C, which otherwise looks quite a nice lane. Double O does take an S. Now, opponent's played, and he has not blocked leg side. Gosh, I missed the moment that he played. Hopefully that wasn't too long ago. Leg side for 78. Pretty good. I have got J and W. Jew, Jew, is one of the words that will be removed if the official word list is updated to reflect the expurgations that Mattel wants. But currently we are playing with a full word list, as the vast majority of Scrabble players want. No room for discrimination in Scrabble. All words are valued. So, what am I going to do here? Looks a pretty good rack. Jow is also good. Great. Less than 30 points for opponent with the Z. Fantastic. So I must have a little bit of breathing space. 60 points. So where can my J play? I have G's in row D. Interesting. 40 points. That's quite promising, but I am sticking an E in the open. But 40 points. And it would be nice to get rid of the W with the J. Well, except G's doesn't do that. I guess W and H do have some synergy. So that's 40 points, and that's pretty good. And I've got the H to go with the C on the bottom. I should be able to score with this rack. Wow, opponent had the Z and, well, can't have had an E or overlooked the res spot. Interesting, otherwise he could have played ZE. 13 minutes on my clock. So, can I do any better than this? I feel in the last game I made some suboptimal plays that I was somewhat cross with myself for making. I don't want to get into a pattern of doing that. I always make some suboptimal plays, but I felt I played particularly badly in the last game. So G's for 40. I have a 100-point lead, 28 tiles in the bag. So a balanced rack, quite a few high-scoring tiles, too many to bingo, but this should ensure that I get a decent score, and by decent I mean upwards of 30 points, and a decent rack leave. So I play a few, or what? Great, just 24 for opponent. And none of these floaters suggest a bingo for me. Now, interesting, I have how here. Takes an E. 36 points. Quite a decent rack leave. Can I do any better than 36 points? I'm getting rid of the W and the H, which is good. I don't have to get rid of the P. A single high-scoring tile on my rack is fine. Now, I could play hows in row C. 31 points, that's fewer points. And I don't think an extra E particularly helps this rack. I don't think it damages it particularly either, but there are floating vowels on the board in the E of G's and the O of glow. So I am going with how. Great, that looks pretty good. Balanced rack, bingo-y tiles apart from the U. 46 points for opponent. So, do I have a bingo? I would have depurant from a D, but let me consider the floaters that are available. How about the C? I have the prefix, uncarpet, not good. So that's not ringing any bells. J, not good. E, well, I'm not saying anything. It's possible there could be something with a vowel. How about the O? I have the out prefix. Neuropath with an O and an H. W doesn't look promising. Gosh, I hope I'm not missing a bingo here. Any other floaters? 10 minutes on my clock. No. So I'm looking to play off P and U. Well, I can play precisely those right here for 20 points, leaving a decent rack leave, and there are bingo lanes in 3 different places on the board, and this is a decent 5-letter set. This must be worth, I would say, at least 10 points. If I draw one of these 3 eyes, I'll have Retain, the best 6-letter set in Scrabble, ignoring blanks. Still one blank to come. Is there anywhere better for UP? No, I'm going with this. I do draw an I, but it comes with a Y, and I don't think Retain goes with a Y. Big miss if it does. Now, I would need an I for itinerary, and I've blocked that with the E of how. So this doesn't look great. So what am I thinking of in terms of Arianite? That would actually play. But is it good? Only one way to find out. Nope. Well, I'm definitely thinking of something. Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. So, itineracy would require another I. This rack plus a C. 9 minutes on my clock, 14 tiles in the bag. Gosh, this is frustrating. This is such a good 6-letter set, and the Y just kills it dead. And my lead is only 60 points. So, what about playing just the Y? I don't want to get into a habit of a series of low scores, fishing for a bingo. But Retain is a really good rack, and this floating E and O and C all look promising. So I can play Nye here, which does take an E, my tempt opponent. Only 10 points, dismal. 3 R's to come. I was thinking of playing YA bottom left because it takes an R. Maybe I should, because my rack is so good. And if opponent plays in that spot, well, he'll be providing access to triple word squares. What about Phi and Ya? No, I like the R hook given this amazing rack. So I have Atherine through the E. I have Inearth, Hairnet, and Therian as 7s. No 7-letter lanes. What does this rack make with a C? Not seeing anything. What about an O? Anti-hero. Fantastic. I have an unblockable bingo. And of course, the 7-letter plays do play in column 2. Having said there are no 7-letter lanes, I've just set one up. Good grief. 37 for opponent. He's scoring steadily. 35 points between us. 7 minutes on my clock. 10 tiles left. They're pretty bingo-y. And every single one of my bingos has got issues. Atherine places an A in row A next to this double letter square. Anti-hero places an A next to a triple word square. And all of the 7-letter plays in column 2 open up column 1. And I'm not seeing a bingo with the C, although it looks like there could be one. 6 minutes on my clock, 10 tiles in the bag. Now, Tarwine is the bingo with the W. Does that have an anagram? Don't think so. And although that is a safe bingo, it's sacrificing score, and I don't want to do that. I'm tempted by Atherine because it obstructs the 7-letter bingo lane in column 2, and it provides access to short non-bingo scoring spots, which are likely to be useful to me to hang on to a lead. If I draw the B or the F and if an opponent bingos, I may be able to stick one of those tiles on this double letter square, score 30 points and get over the line. So Atherine for 74. Wow, it's me who draws the blank. This is an amazing rack. I have Ferrule as a 7. I've got the full suffix. I'm delighted to see this blank. My lead is 90 points. Opponent may bingo the remaining tie. Yeah, and he does. Unbelievable. He bingos with the W for 92 points. Huge play. And my lead now, just 17 points. So, what to do? Bag is empty. Opponent is surely going out with MIS. He's got Miso in column 14. He's got MIS in column 2. So this is my last move. So, do I have a 7-letter bingo in column 2? Ferrule doesn't go. 5 minutes on my clock. Maybe something else does. That's Ferrule. Not seeing anything else. Maybe the blank needs to be a vowel. Not seeing anything there. Okay, this isn't looking promising, but I think it's an exercise one needs to go through. Flurry. Interesting. Interesting. Flurry as a 6. What about playing that here? 38 points. That's exactly the scenario I envisage where opponent bingos, and the short opportunities give me enough to guarantee the win, because I am leading 3 minutes on my clock. I am leading by about 15 points, and this is going to give me a 50-point lead, and IMS is not going to generate enough points for opponent, I hope. So I think this gets the job done, even if I have Mr. Bingo. Wow, over 500 points. I hadn't appreciated that the scores were in that sort of territory. Great bingo of writable by opponent. Put the wind up me slightly at the end. And that's it. And the final score, 465 for my opponent, 502 for me, a winning margin of 37 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, high scoring game. I just didn't realise it was. Look at this, 465 points for opponent, and he loses. So let's see how that happened. It was opponent to go first, plays Fet. Now, let's see what I missed. So, G1, opening column 1, Duodena, that's a 7 I didn't see. And the only other two mentioned are Rondo and Duans, which I saw. So, I got 67 points and only 2 more on offer, all of which open up triple word squares. Great start by opponent with insteps. And wow, ideating and nidating, the only bingos. And wow, interesting. I could have got 2 more points by playing through this E. Yeah, but I think ideating is safer in terms of what it provides for opponents. Played in column 6. Opponent's rack plays Umiak, which was a great spot. And wow, look at this. Rubric was... I was so relieved to see that, because for most of the time when I was looking at this rack, I saw nothing. Then I saw Rubric and put it down, and as you can see, everything else on offer is problematic. The scores very low in the 20s, and the rack leave was all pretty grim, and Rubric really stands out as being significantly better than the second best play. Now, my lead only 30 points. Horrible rack for opponent, plays Yon. Phew, no missed bingo here. And I play Arbor for 33 and a fantastic rack leave, so I like that. Opponent plays Cond. And now I have leg side, and that is the only bingo, so delighted there was a spot for it. Wow, look at this horror show. Opponent trailing by 90, and he's got this as a rack. What does he do? He plays Zag for 29, and I play G's for 40. Nothing else obviously better. Opponent got the QV combination, struggles on with, well, interesting, struggles on with Glow, but I thought he had an I, he didn't. So Glow for 24, yeah, not many more points on offer. Now my rack, a lot nicer, and what do? I play How for 36, and I think the R helps EP. I think this is a nicer rack leave than those above it. Opponent's rack, still struggling, but this has got the I for Chi. So now just 70 points in it, and this looked a promising rack, but I could not see a bingo. And there isn't one. Okay, great, didn't miss one. I played up in order to retain Enter, and I like that. All of these moves suggested here trash the rack, and Enter is really nice, so I'm happy with my play. Opponent's rack plays a Vac. And no bingo here. This is where I tried Arianite, and I'm still not sure quite what I'm confusing it with, but no bingo. And I play Yar for 10, leaving Retain on my rack, and I still like that, especially given my lead. So, opponent plays Exo, and these are my bingos. I2 in Earth for 80, Anti-Hero 76, Herniate I didn't see, that's the anagram of Atherine. Interesting, Herniate probably was the play. So often the case with a whole bunch of bingos that the one you don't see is the one which you would have played. And Herniate, as you can see, has none of the issues of the other plays in terms of providing access to triple word squares. It does stick an E next to this triple letter square, so potential for a high-scoring non-bingo, but I would have played Herniate if I'd seen it. But Atherine, not too far behind. All of these bingos are good. Opponent's rack, and this is a fantastic bingo, writable, for 92 points. So look at this, just 25 points between us. And how many bingos have I got down? 1, 2, 3. I've played 4 bingos and my lead is just 20 points. Now, did I miss out on a 5th bingo? I did! Wow! H2 Furlers. Wow! Plus I2 Flirred. Gosh, and Perfler. F2. Wow, 3 missed bingos at the end there. What a way that would have been to have gone out. Furlers for 83. Gosh. Okay, so blotted my copybook at the end. Played Flurry for 38, which looks like the best of the non-bingos. And opponent goes out with Sim. And that was the end of the game, and what an epic game, just massively high scoring. Both of us over 450 points and myself over 500, so absolutely super battle, and there was only 20 or 30 points between us going towards the end of the game, so absolutely amazing stuff. Many thanks to my opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.